Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin James from Scalp MicroPigmentation Australia, and welcome to another 5-minute fast facts on Scalp MicroPigmentation, the Pro Artist Series, where we're interviewing some amazing scalp micropigmentation artists from around the world and getting their tips and tricks on how you can get the most out of your scalp micropigmentation transformation. Today we're joined by a very well-rounded practitioner. Her experience in the beauty and tattoo industry spans over 17 years. She has taken so many trainings. I would definitely call her a trainerholic. She has undertaken trainings both in the US with Matt Aiello, John Chandler, in the UK with Simon Lane and Paul Clark at Bramwood, and learnt trichopigmentation technique as well with Debbie Clifford. Just to name a few. She's a part of multiple alopecia and hair loss societies and is clearly dedicated to being an amazing SMP artist. She's travelled to many parts of the world for trainings and treatments, and so today we're joined with the beautiful Michelle Stehle. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you for having me. What a wonderful intro. Thank you.
Yeah, I did actually forget to mention that you were a Rising Star nomination, received a finalist in 2018 and 2019. So for those watching, the Rising Star category is up a fair bit in these 5-minute fast facts. And what it means is that Michelle was then nominated for being really amazing at what she does quite early on in her career. So the Rising Star category by Team Micro Award is for someone who's been treating for less than 2 years and is making a really big impact with their results. So congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I was honored to receive them. Yeah, it's a great honor to just be around everyone at the meeting of minds, but on top of that, to be recognized for the work is an incredible honor. So thanks.
Yeah. Brilliant. You obviously are really obviously talented, but also very passionate about what you do. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to enter the scalp micropigmentation industry.
Well, you had mentioned I have been in this industry, in the beauty industry, for somewhere between 17 and 18 years. I lose track every time I try to count because I'm not really sure when it was that I realized that I was already doing hair. And throughout 18 years, let's call it that, of styling, I've seen clients go through hair loss, thinning, or they're supporting someone in their family that's maybe dealing with alopecia, and they actually come to me, before they actually go to their doctor and ask, because, they see me all the time and they're asking, and I'm actually working on their head. Mm-hmm. And I actually have very fine hair, and my hair breaks off very easily, so I wear hair all the time. In fact, I'm actually wearing hair right now. And it occurred to me that, and I love that it looks natural and people don't actually know. So it occurred to me to find ways to help add hair for people. And scalp micropigmentation, when I saw it for the first time, it was actually on female hair loss. Mm-hmm. And I knew that within every cell of my body that I needed to do it. It was just, there was no question. I needed to know how to give this to people. And when I saw what I could do for men as well, it just sealed the deal for me. And I started searching for the training that I was going to have.
Brilliant. Yeah. And you've traveled to many countries, all to do with scalp micropigmentation. So perhaps tell us, where has scalp micropigmentation taken you, and what do you feel is your most rewarding moment?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Well, it's taken me to, for starters, to New York City. I live in San Francisco, and I love New York. I used to live there. It's taken me all around England. I mean, I've worked in a few different clinics there in training, learning, seeing techniques, seeing clients and models. And it's even taken me to Cairo, Egypt, of all places, and to Safe Sidki, which was wonderful. And, it was interesting. It was such an honor to be in a clinic in a different culture and see how many things actually are similar, no matter where you are in the world. Mm-hmm. The challenges or the same I guess you want to call it victories with clients, like seeing their process, you know, no matter where you are in the world, you can help someone. So
Yeah.
that was incredible.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you've been all through so the UK and Europe as well. Just
Sorry.
just touch on a little bit about your training in trichopigmentation, because that is something a little bit different to scalp micropigmentation. So just explain about your training there with Debbie Clifford.
Absolutely. So when I learned about scalp micropigmentation, when I realized there was a need for maybe a less permanent solution, and I looked it up, and right away I found trichopigmentation. And Debbie and Jasper and the entire GoldenEye team, they really helped explain to me there's actually more facets to that education that I could mix with the traditional scalp micropigmentation and put it all together for a better understanding of what the client might need, you know, not just directing them down one path, because there is a need for it. I find that there's a lot of people that aren't ready to go whole hog, as you might say, into the permanent treatment. Yeah. Yeah,
brilliant. It's so great that you can offer both methods. Well done.
Thank you.
In your opinion, what do you feel is the most difficult skin type to treat, and what considerations as an artist are there to make sure that you achieve a really beautiful outcome?
I think, in my experience, while I've heard oily skin and oily scalp is tough to treat, I have found that my most challenging client is someone that has like an extra layer of dry skin, and it's basically, I'm almost like popping the crust of an epidermis, and it's getting sucked up into the needle. And so I'm finding that is actually my hardest skin type. And usually they don't even know that they have it when they come in, and until I actually puncture their skin, I don't know. So I send them home with a home regimen to work between session 1 and session 2, and I can see how that heals and what other places that I need to work on when they come back. Because usually those places end up being a lot lighter and not retaining their pigment as much.
Yeah. And do you find that the more difficult skin types, being those, I guess, more mature, thicker, dry skins, are they more so in America, or have you seen that when you've been traveling?
I've seen more of it here, honestly. That sometimes if there's, you know, head wrapping, or even if someone's wearing a system and maybe like after their treatment sneaking and putting their system back on, that's usually a result of that. Yeah. But I've seen the drier scalp actually here in the Bay Area more so than yeah.
Cool. And why do you feel it is important for a client to find a scalp micropigmentation artist that perhaps has taken more than one training?
Well, I think it starts from my roots, where I'm in a career where you go to school, you pass a state board, you join a team, you are an assistant, you're an apprentice, and then you're tested onto being a full-on master or, you know, stylist in the salon. So I feel that it does take more than one training for anybody. Every teacher is going to have everyone learns a different way. So every teacher is going to have something new to teach that person. And I think it's it's part of being a repetitive learning. And yeah.
And I think a lot of us scalp micropigmentation artists may start out working alone as well. So even when you're working alone, I think there's sort of stages in your career where you need a little bit of extra training, because you work out what it is that you're lacking, and then you go to find the right person that excels in that in their training. So taking multiple trainings, I think, just helps us as artists become really well-rounded.
Absolutely. I think you probably experienced the same thing when you started out. There weren't as many trainings.
Yeah.
And some people were selling the one night or one day training, fly by night, you know, learn on 10 heads in one day. And I knew that wasn't right. And it's just a matter of finding what you have available when you come into this, and finding what works for you, and then just I personally felt that I needed to continue training. Trainaholic is a great name for me, honestly.
I know, it sums you up really well.
Yeah. Yes.
And why do you feel it's important?
Actually, now that I think about it, I should be a postaholic. I'm going to switch everything after this interview.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, back to questions. So why do you feel like it's important for a client to find a scalp micropigmentation practitioner who perhaps attends lots of conferences?
Well, I think the way I would look at it is that if someone is willing to invest their time in their worldly, education and going to conferences where you're going to get a little facet, a little bit of light from each person that will speak, maybe a new technique comes up, a new machine, a new pigment. As a consumer, I would feel comfortable knowing that my technician is investing in my treatment by investing in their self, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think personally, like attending multiple conferences shows your dedication and your passion and the need to want to learn and progress. I don't think anyone ever stops learning. No one knows it all. And I think that's it. Even if you go to a conference and you learn one thing, that's one more thing that you then can offer your client.
Absolutely. And I also feel for the person that is speaking, even the speakers, when I teach someone something, I feel that I'm learning in return. So it's this constant give and take of trading. So.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And I'm sure someone watching you've helped, if they're in the learning stage of deciding whether scalp micropigmentation is for them, perhaps finding an artist that's really well-rounded, well-traveled, that attends lots of conferences, continued education. I feel that is really important. So thank you so much for your time. And thanks for being on the 5-Minute Fast Facts, the Pro Artist series.
Thank you, Caitlin. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. And if you have any comments or questions, we want to hear from you. So as always, don't be shy. Give us a call or an email. Pop something in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any updates as we release our latest content. And thanks again, Michelle. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you.